7 out of 10 female sailors leave the Navy before completing a full career. On aircraft carriers, that number gets worse. These floating cities house 5,000 people, but only 20% are women. Some female sailors describe their daily routine as pure survival, not just surviving the dangers of military life, but surviving their own shipmates. On the USS George Washington, women reported becoming numb to harassment because fighting it felt hopeless. These aren't just statistics, they're survival stories from America's most powerful warships. Picture trying to do your job while constantly watching your back. Imagine avoiding certain areas of your workplace because you know what might happen there. Think about going to sleep every night wondering if you'll make it through another day without incident. This is the reality for thousands of women serving aboard America's aircraft carriers. These aren't combat fears, these are fears of their own crew members. Aircraft carriers represent the ultimate male-dominated workplace. With crews of 5,000, women make up barely 1 in 5 sailors. They're outnumbered 4 to 1, living in cramped quarters, working 16-hour days, with nowhere to escape for months at a time. The survival rate tells the whole story. While male sailors often serve 20-year careers, female sailors are leaving in droves. They're not leaving because they can't handle the work. They're leaving because they can't handle the environment. If you think our female sailors deserve better survival odds, type "Protect our heroes" in the comments below. The survival math. Let's talk about what survival actually looks like in numbers. On some aircraft carriers, 75% of women report being harassed. That means 3 out of 4 female sailors face unwanted behavior regularly. But here's the real survival math. Only 28% of female sailors report sexual assault when it happens. Why? Because reporting often makes survival harder, not easier. Women who report incidents face retaliation rates of over 30%. They get transferred, passed over for promotion, or treated as outcasts by crew members who see them as troublemakers. The USS Bulkley investigation found that women in some departments had learned to just become numb to harassment. They'd given up fighting it because fighting made their daily survival more difficult. Female sailors develop survival strategies that male sailors never have to think about. They travel in groups. They avoid certain areas of the ship during specific shifts. They learn which crew members to stay away from and which routes to take through the ship. Some women described having to choose between career advancement and personal safety. Taking certain assignments meant working with known harassers. Declining those assignments meant falling behind in their careers. The survival rate for female officers is even more telling. Women leave the Navy at much higher rates than men, especially around the 7-year mark. This isn't because they can't do the job. It's because the job environment makes long-term survival feel impossible. Think about what this means for readiness. Every female sailor who leaves represents hundreds of thousands of dollars in training lost. More importantly, it represents talent America can't afford to waste. Survival in a floating prison. Understanding why women struggle to survive on carriers requires understanding the unique environment they face. An aircraft carrier is like a small city, but a city you can never leave. For 6 to 9 months at a time, this floating metal box becomes your entire world. There's no going home at the end of a bad day. There's no weekend break from difficult coworkers. In this confined space, everything happens together. You work with the same people you eat with, exercise with, and sleep near. If someone makes your life difficult, you can't avoid them. You'll see them at breakfast, during work hours, in the gym, and walking past your sleeping area. Privacy doesn't exist. Berthing areas house dozens of sailors in spaces smaller than most bedrooms. Bathrooms are shared. Shower times are scheduled. Personal conversations can be overheard by multiple people. For women, this creates a constant state of alertness. Male sailors can relax in their downtime. Female sailors often describe feeling like they're always on guard. They have to monitor their body language, their clothing, their interactions, even their sleep schedules. The USS George Washington spent 6 years in maintenance, with sailors living on the ship while contractors worked around them. Female sailors describe this period as especially difficult for survival. Construction noise made sleep nearly impossible. Chemical fumes and dust filled living spaces. Normal routines were disrupted, making it harder to avoid problem situations. Some women reported 3-hour commutes each way just to reach the ship, then facing hostile environments once they arrived. After months or years of this, many decided survival meant finding a way out. The male-dominated reality. The 4-to-1 ratio isn't just a statistic, it shapes every aspect of daily survival. In most workplace situations, if someone bothers you, others will intervene or support you. On a male-dominated carrier, women often find themselves isolated. Speaking up about harassment might mean confronting not just one person, but an entire group that shares similar attitudes. The buddy system that works for male sailors often fails women. Male sailors form tight groups based on shared experiences and backgrounds. Women struggle to find that same network of support and protection. Leadership positions remain heavily male-dominated. This means women often have to report harassment to male supervisors who might not understand the severity of the situation. Some investigations found that male leaders dismissed complaints as personality conflicts or communication problems. The military culture of toughness can work against female survival. Admitting you're struggling with harassment gets seen as weakness. Women are expected to handle it the same way men would, but the situations they face are completely different. Physical spaces on carriers were designed by men for men. Berthing areas, workspaces, and common areas reflect male assumptions about privacy, safety, and comfort. Women have to adapt to environments that weren't built with their survival needs in mind. Even simple things become survival challenges. Getting dressed, using bathroom facilities, or exercising require constant awareness of who's around and what might happen. Male sailors don't have to think about these basic activities as potential safety issues. Before we continue with this important discussion, I'd like to ask for your support. If this content matters to you, please subscribe and hit the like button. Your engagement helps us bring attention to issues our service members face. When survival becomes impossible, some situations push female sailors beyond their ability to cope and survive. The USS Bulkley investigation revealed what happens when survival becomes a daily battle. Ship leadership had become so focused on operational requirements that they ignored the human cost. Women reported that complaining about harassment was seen as hurting mission readiness. One junior officer had to remind her peers to protect their sailors from each other. Think about what that means. Military leaders having to be reminded that crew safety includes protection from their own shipmates. Multiple investigations found that women who reported harassment faced retaliation that made their positions unsustainable. They were given poor performance reviews, denied training opportunities, or transferred to less desirable positions. The message was clear. Reporting problems would make survival harder, not easier. Some women described reaching breaking points where they had to choose between their mental health and their military career. The daily stress of navigating a hostile environment while maintaining military performance standards became overwhelming. The USS George Washington saw multiple suicides during its extended maintenance period. While not all were related to harassment, the investigation found that the overall environment created stress levels that pushed some sailors beyond their coping abilities. Female sailors developed what psychologists call hypervigilance, a constant state of alertness that's mentally and physically exhausting. Living this way for months or years takes a serious toll on health and well-being. When survival becomes the primary focus, professional growth suffers. Women who should be concentrating on advancing their skills and careers instead spend mental energy on basic safety and navigation of hostile social situations. The survivor's strategies. Despite these challenges, many women do survive and even thrive on aircraft carriers. They've developed strategies that others can learn from. Successful female sailors often form tight support networks with other women. They share information about safe routes through the ship, reliable work partners, and supervisors who can be trusted. This intelligence network becomes crucial for survival. Many learn to document everything. They keep detailed records of incidents, conversations, and interactions. This isn't paranoia. It's practical survival strategy for environments where their word might be questioned. Physical fitness becomes more than just military requirement. It becomes a confidence and safety tool. Women who can clearly handle themselves physically often face fewer challenges from problematic crew members. Professional excellence provides some protection. Female sailors who become indispensable in their roles find that their value to the mission gives them more leverage in difficult situations. Being really good at your job makes it harder for others to dismiss or marginalize you. Some women survive by finding male allies, senior sailors and officers who actively support gender integration and will intervene when they see problems. These champions can make the difference between a survivable environment and an impossible one. Mentorship from other women who've successfully navigated carrier life provides both practical advice and emotional support. Learning from others' survival strategies helps newer female sailors avoid common pitfalls. The most successful survivors learn to pick their battles carefully. They develop skills in knowing when to fight, when to document, when to report, and when to simply endure until circumstances change. The cost of survival. Even successful survival comes at a price that male sailors rarely have to pay. Female sailors who complete full careers on carriers often describe the emotional and psychological cost. Constant vigilance takes a toll. Always having to prove yourself worthy of respect is exhausting. Never being able to fully relax in your workplace affects long-term health and happiness. Many women who survive do so by becoming harder, more guarded versions of themselves. They learn to suppress natural reactions, limit emotional expression, and maintain professional facades even in situations where male colleagues might express frustration or anger. The career cost is significant too. Women who spend energy on survival have less energy for professional development. They miss networking opportunities because social situations feel unsafe. They decline assignments that would advance their careers because the risk isn't worth it. Family life suffers when survival becomes the primary focus. The stress of carrier deployments is hard enough without adding harassment and discrimination. Many female sailors report that their families don't understand the additional challenges they face beyond normal military hardships. Some women survive by compartmentalizing their experiences, mentally separating their professional achievements from the personal costs of obtaining them. They take pride in their military service while acknowledging that the path was unnecessarily difficult. The Navy loses valuable talent when survival becomes so difficult that capable women choose to leave rather than endure. Every departure represents not just individual loss, but collective loss of skills, experience, and leadership potential. The Navy's survival support. Military leadership has begun recognizing that female sailor survival isn't just a personal responsibility, it's an institutional one. The 2024 establishment of Navy Women's Initiatives teams represents a systematic approach to improving survival rates. These teams specifically focus on identifying and removing barriers that make long-term service difficult for women. New policies address some practical survival needs. Improved pregnancy policies mean women don't have to choose between family and career advancement. Better reporting procedures reduce retaliation risks that previously made speaking up dangerous. Leadership training now includes specific education about the unique challenges women face in male-dominated environments. Male officers learn to recognize situations that feel normal to them, but threatening to female sailors. Physical improvements on newer ships address some environmental factors that affect daily survival. Better privacy arrangements, improved lighting in common areas, and more appropriate facilities all contribute to creating more survivable environments. Mentorship programs specifically pair experienced female sailors with newer ones, passing along survival knowledge that used to be learned through trial and error. This institutional memory helps new female sailors avoid common pitfalls. The Navy has also begun tracking retention rates more carefully, recognizing that survival isn't just about completing deployments, it's about building careers that last long enough to develop senior female leadership. These changes represent real progress, but they're still relatively new. The true test will be whether female sailors report feeling safer and more supported in coming years. Survival success stories. Despite all these challenges, thousands of women have not just survived, but excelled on aircraft carriers. Female fighter pilots now lead combat missions from carrier decks. Women serve as department heads managing hundreds of sailors. Female officers command escort ships in carrier strike groups. Their success proves that survival is possible and that women's contributions to naval aviation are invaluable. These success stories provide hope and practical guidance for other women entering similar environments. They show that with the right strategies, support systems, and institutional backing, female sailors can build full careers on carriers. The first generation of women to serve on carriers faced the hardest survival challenges because they had no roadmap. Today's female sailors benefit from their courage and sacrifice, though significant challenges remain. Every woman who completes a successful carrier career makes survival easier for those who follow. They change perceptions, build support networks, and demonstrate that female sailors are essential to naval operations. Our female sailors have earned our respect through their service and their survival. If you agree, please like this video and subscribe to support content that honors all our service members. Share your thoughts about how we can better support the women defending our nation. These are America's daughters, wives, and mothers choosing to serve in one of the world's most challenging environments. Their struggle to survive and succeed makes our nation stronger and our Navy better.